Hello, everyone. It's been a really long time since I've made a video. I made one in the fall, but I never posted it. It just didn't seem right. And whenever my last video was, I made a lot of changes since then. And um, I've been doing a lot of inner work, and I think trying to make sense of life and decisions until now. I divorced this last year, and now I have time without my kids, unfortunately. Um, but I'm trying to, as always, you can get stuck in whatever perspective, right? You can get stuck in a perspective of woe is me and this is so terrible, or I can go, this is really a time I can utilize and harness for myself. And I really try to use my time wisely. So I've been doing self-help books on emotional abuse and self-love. And I have a lot of friends that I speak to online. I have a few friends that stuck by me through my illness, particularly one, and she's very special to me, but my online friends are also very amazing and have been with me for years and have helped me really through this rough time. And so, you think that, I guess sometimes it's quibbled upon that those aren't real relationships, but when you can talk to somebody about anything and they're answering you and they're helping you, it's really amazing. And I was having a conversation with one such friend, and who's had a beautiful, amazing, fulfilling life, and he had made a comment to me, and we're having this kind of, philosophical or whatever discussion about relationships because, as I said to him, I'm not lonely, but I feel incomplete. And incomplete isn't even the right word because that means I'm not complete to begin with. But, like, I'm waiting for that partnership. But I said, I know I don't want a partnership. And this was really kind of the point of my video. And I hope I can get back to these because, before, when the mood struck or whatever, then I'd take the opportunity to have the conversation. And whether I'm having this conversation with myself or with you or the universe, it doesn't really matter. There's some fulfillment from it. And I have always seen these videos as, if this is needed in this moment for myself, then somebody at some moment, whether it be now or in the future, needs it too. So here's my thought process on relationships, because this person I was talking to has had a very successful relationship for, I believe, 40 years, if I'm remembering correctly. And I was married for 24 years, and a lot of people would call that a successful amount of time, but I think it was a very long-standing dysfunctional amount of time. And I feel like I think about the girl I was when I got married, and I recognize now the erosion of self. And I said to this friend, it's kind of like I felt like I was a coach and trying to raise up and encourage somebody. And that's something that at times I do with my children, but I don't feel like that's something I should need to do with a partner. And we were discussing how both people need to keep their identities and their loves and their interests, and that, the other partner should come in, and it's not being a coach. You can't motivate somebody to love themselves and do for themselves. You can only do for you whatever is in your heart and your desire and your recognition to do for you. But as a partner, I can be a cheerleader, but you have to have the desire to still do and grow and whatever for you. And this person was talking about how with their spouse they've had several interests, and she's had several interests, and they've both done those separate interests while cheering for each other and growing together and building up together. But that independence, which I think we're not taught to be that way. I think we're taught to be dependent on each other, and you got to find this other person to complete you. Can you think of how many movies have some line in them that says, "You complete me"? I don't need to be completed. I'm beautiful and whole and amazing with all of my flaws as I am. And somebody else, whoever out of the billions of people in this world, will be too. And at some point, if we can connect and build each other up, then we can cheer for each other. But I never want to lose that spirit of doing for me and being motivated for me again. I don't want to stop doing pretty things for me, or going out to eat, for instance, and saying, I'm going to take this time for myself. Letting somebody talk me out of that, or settling for somebody that can't have a philosophical discussion about X, Y, or Z, that isn't motivated to have their own projects. That when I have projects that I want to do and I need help with, one, I would like help. If you want to help me, cheer for me if I succeed. But has their own projects in mind and things like that. And I think you can have goals together, but it shouldn't be completely dependent on one person to have all of the drive and the ambition. And so I said, I really don't want to be a coach anymore. Because a coach, I think a lot of what ends up being men, but not always, because there's no absolutes. A woman is coaching and encouraging and, laying it out like this, laying it out perfectly, and they're in all the headspace and the managing and things like that. And again, not all just women, but for this reference, since I'm experienced in that in this moment, that's what I'm going to go with. And there's pushing and pushing, and that turns into nagging, and that turns into disappointment when it doesn't happen. And then that creates distance. And so the question really is, or the thought process here, if we're having our own goals and dreams and desires, can we cheer and be excited for that other person? This friend was saying how they've worked on projects and they'd be, knee deep into a project, and their wife comes home and, just like says, "How's it going?" And they're genuinely interested. And it's not just, "Oh, roll eyes and he's at it again." And I think there's something to be said there then about, you know, finishing what we start and things like that. But all of that comes from self. And if we don't love ourselves and we don't want to finish our projects and, you know, and we don't even have any projects, then what does that say about us? And so I started these videos, and I don't even know exactly why I started them, but I do enjoy doing them. And I know I've said it before, but I really do want to get back to making these. And I think now that I have the time, and maybe they won't be as spiritual as before, which I don't know why not. I'm still a spiritual person. But I think that's part of our spirit too, is recognizing and loving our own individual self. And if we love and embrace our individual self, which we're often told not to. You know, I've been doing so much of this like deep inner self work, and I think about it, I'm just kind of, I realize how much society and parents and teachers, although loving and well-meaning, push us to dissuade our own feelings and our own sense of self, you know, under the guise of sharing, or, well, that's not very thoughtful to the other person, or they didn't really mean that, or he hit you because he liked you, or, you know, whatever. Instead of letting us just sit and be in our feelings and have them. And not to say that there's not conversations that could happen after, but recognizing being there for ourselves and our parents, or as a parent, you know, we model to our children how to process all of those feelings. And if we're processing it and telling our kids, push that to the side, push that to the side, push that to the side, then is it any wonder that they're a 46-year-old adult that doesn't know how to process their feelings and stand up for themselves and say, this isn't, like, why am I allowing this? Or should we be surprised that it takes 24 years to feel worthy enough to do that? And one of the things with my divorce that I recognized was that I didn't want my kids to think that that's what love was. I really noticed and saw all the signs of dysfunction, and I noticed a lot of patterns from my childhood and relationships, and my biggest fear is them thinking that that is okay or normal. And so when they experience that, they go, oh, this is normal. This must be good. And I don't want that for my kids. And I don't want it for me. So sometimes we do hard things. And this last year has been hard. And it's had beautiful, wonderful moments with people, beautiful, wonderful moments with my children. And it's had really hard ones too. And one of the hardest ones was a recent relationship that I realized just wasn't, I was going into it with the same ideas, well, I can fix this, or this can be good enough. And the realization before it got too serious that no, it can't. I don't want to be a coach for a grown man ever again. And I'm really proud of me for recognizing that. And I'm proud of me for doing this work because I'm worth it. And I know by doing this work, I'm not going to just get stuck in the same cycle with whoever comes next, because the next person is going to have to be pretty amazing for me to even disturb my peace. Because it's a lot of effort and loyalty and love and energy to be a cheerleader in the right way and to not turn into a coach. And somebody else is definitely worth that, but I'm also worth that. And so there will be no settling. In fact, I can honestly say that I would absolutely rather be alone than have my peace disturbed by somebody now. And I think that's a powerful place to be in. And I think continuing to do that inner work and go, what got me here? And a lot of times, and I've had this discussion with another friend, you can't fix what's in the past. And you can't fix necessarily what's in the past, but you can figure out why it went wrong to you. And you can figure out the person you were that allowed that. And you can fix that part of you so that this you and the future you don't have those same needs or wants or desires, so that you are moving forward to a higher version of yourself. And there's some people that are amazing to me that were able to do this with, no coaching from parents, and just literally discovered this on their own as teenagers or in their 20s. And some people it's a little bit later in their 30s, and there's some people that are like me that are in their 40s, and there's some people that are in their 50s and 60s. And when this happens, I think you can look back and you can wallow in, why didn't I figure this out blank years ago? Why didn't I recognize this then? And, there's a part of me that goes, yeah, that would have been great. But all these things happen. One thing I'll never regret is my kids. They are the best part of that time period. And so I don't look at it that way. I look at it as there's lessons. I can accept and learn from the lessons, and then take what I've learned into the future with me, and enjoy the lessons now, and as they complete me and grow me as a person. Or I cannot. And I could still be that person, and that would be okay, but I don't feel like that's what I came here to do. I feel like the growth that I've done, particularly over the last 6 years, but definitely from my illness forward, I feel like all the growth I had up until my illness prepared me for my time with my illness with Alpha Gal. And then Alpha Gal was like, you're still not getting it. Let's strip you down a little bit more. And it did. And I had to rebuild me with love that I had never been able to give before. And find my own worthiness in a way that I had never done before. And I will never, ever, ever regret being sick. I look at that time as that was the universe or me saving me so that I don't waste this life. So I go, I was so close and I could have got it, but I didn't. Nope. Safety net. We're going to make sure you get sick. So sick that you can't possibly miss it this time. And that's okay. I will be forever grateful. And, I could again go wish it had happened here. And maybe it did happen there, but gosh, I wasn't ready for it then. And again, that's okay. Because I'm human and I'm having a human experience, and that's what I agreed to come do. And but I'm loving and basking in it now. Right now I'm in school. I'm going to massage school, and I absolutely love it. There's nothing better. I feel like I'm getting to be in health and wellness and heal people on a whole nother level, and there's so much energy work involved, and I love it. And I'm so grateful for this time. And yeah, it pains me when I'm away from my kids now, but I also I utilize that time. And another friend was like, you can either spend that time whining and crying and saying woe is me, or you can say, I'm going to utilize every minute of every day without them to be the best me, and then I'll be the best mom that I can be. And it's true. I take really good care of myself when I'm by myself, and I take good care of myself when I'm with my kids, and I take good care of my kids when I'm with my kids. And I love it. And so when there's that one of those hard moments, it goes, well, I think I need to work on something for me right now then. I'm not going to waste this opportunity. So if you're in the middle of something hard for yourself, whether it's divorce, job's horrible, school's horrible, whatever, just relationships horrible, I think you need to ask yourself some hard questions. Maybe look into your past, at least look into your right now. What is this trying to teach me? I've met some amazing people since I stepped out of that cycle, and I've had the best support. And I'm learning how to ask for help, which is hard because, that's ingrained in us. Don't ask for help. Why would you ask for help? I'm learning about self-imposed shame and fear. And a lot of that we put on ourselves. It's not even there. We just put it on ourselves. And I'm learning to process and deal with that. So maybe a lot for a video. That's probably over a year in between. But when I have these moments of reflection, I know that they'll help somebody. And so I'm ready for that. I've been getting some iron transfusions and stuff lately. My iron's been low. Been having all sorts of fun with, I fainted because of low iron. Thanks insurance for being difficult. And so I'm finally getting the iron transfusions now. But my inner ear crystals and my C canals are off. So I've been battling vertigo and everything that goes with that fun. And that's making me have to sit even more. I'm a firm believer that illness is what is there to make you sit and think and process something that you will not do otherwise. And so I'm doing it even more, even now. And then having and finding the strength on the days with kids or days for school and doing the physical work. So I'm a bit tired now for making this, but it's worth it to me because it makes my heart full to share these moments with you guys. So if you're in the middle of it, working on you, then keep going. And if you find yourself on the edge of a new relationship, make sure you're honoring you. Be a cheerleader, not a coach. You can coach yourself, you can cheer yourself, play the game for yourself. But watch those lines for yourself too. Watch those boundaries. I think boundaries, particularly for women, are hard to enforce, but they're necessary because otherwise we get burnt out. Because we're pouring and pouring and pouring to somebody else. And we're not leaving anything for ourselves. So have a wonderful day. Hopefully first of many more new videos as those beautiful moments with friends pop up and I go, oh, somebody else needs to hear this, because that's what happened today. So have a wonderful day, and I hope you carry that with you. And if you're in the middle of it, keep going. You're worth it.